Hello viewers, this is Int'l, Chairman ELT and Head of Linguistics, Bhaita Bangladesh. Welcome to Language Teaching Learning Materials Evaluation, Designing and Development Course Module 5, What and Why is Material Evaluation? As a part of MA in English, ELT, TEFL and TESOL programs, in this module, I will talk about introduction, definition, characteristics, features, reasons, and importance of material evaluation in teaching learning language. So, this video is very necessary and beneficial to you. Let's get started. Lesson 1. Introduction to Evaluation. The term evaluation refers to the making of a judgment about the amount, number, or value of something. It's similar to assessment in some respect. Evaluation is the systematic assessment of the design, implementation, or result of initiative for the purposes of learning or decision making. If you evaluate something or someone, you consider them in order to make a judgment about them, for example, about how good or bad they are. Evaluation of teaching involves collecting evidence from various stakeholders for the purpose of improving the effectiveness of the teaching learning process. A successful evaluation generates outcomes that are valid, reliable, and indicate directions and action for development. Lesson 2. Various scholarly definitions of evaluation. Evaluation is a systematic determination of a subject's merit, worth, and significance using criteria governed by a set of standards. Materials evaluation may be defined as a procedure or a systematic appraisal or judgment measuring the potential values of materials on learners in relation to their objectives. Tomlinson, 1998-2003. To identify the points of strengths and weaknesses is another reason for evaluation. Evaluation assessment considers value, merit, worth, significance, or quality. Scriven, 1991. Lesson 3. Major characteristics and features of evaluation. Evaluation measures the value of the materials whilst observing or using them. It's more reliable than assessment since it makes use of measurement rather than prediction. Tomlinson, 1998-2003. Material evaluation takes into consideration the strengths, weaknesses, and suggestions for necessary changes for English textbooks or language course books of a country or an organization. A checklist is to develop for material analysis to answer the research questions. The checklist items will be related to goals, content, and sequence of language skills material, listening, speaking, reading, writing, and grammar. Each unit of the textbook should be explored by the parameters of checklist quantitatively and qualitatively. The results show that language learning materials needs to be revised according to the latest parameters of communicative language teaching and learning. According to Hutchinson and Waters, textbook evaluation is basically a straightforward analytical matching process. Matching needs to available solutions. Hutchinson and Waters, 1987, page 97. Lesson 4. What and why is textbook evaluation? Leslie E. Sheldon, 1988, bewailed on evaluating ELT textbooks and materials elaborately and opines that ELT coursebook publishing is a multi-million-pound industry, yet the whole business of product assessment is haphazard and under-researched. Course books are often seen by potential consumers, teachers, learners, and educational researchers as market ephemera, that is, things that exist or are used or enjoyed for only a short time, or collectible items that were originally expected to have only short-term usefulness or popularity, requiring invidious, unpleasant, or offensive compromise between commercial and pedagogical demands. Some practical and theoretical reasons for such grassroots discontent are frequently discussed in textbook studies and qualitative checklists. The state of the informal assistance available to intending purchasers is also examined. Finally, a set of common core qualitative criteria is advanced, whose purpose would be to make evaluations and selection more systematic and informed. Sheldon added that this issue is rather more emotive and controversial for teachers. Many would agree with Schwartz, 1988, that textbooks, especially course books, represent a problem and in extreme cases are examples of educational failure. He again says, I would like to explore the reasons for such strong reactions and to put forward possible evaluation solution. I wish to concentrate on course books because whether we like it or not, these represent for both students and teachers the visible heart of any ELT program, he added. The selection of a particular core value signals an executive educational decision in which there is considerable professional, financial, and even political intervention and investment. This high profile means that the identifications and applications of systematic criteria for assessing course books are vital. Supplementary textbooks and materials, on the other hand, may not carry the same burden. The evaluative criteria for these can, to some extent, remain implicit or be allowed to define themselves more informally in the local situation. Lesson 5. Why is evaluation so important? In this situation, wrong selection can be a particularly keen reason for regret. When a textbook is imposed on both parties by a higher authority and when there is no possibility of change or modification, the discontent is no less acute for being futile. It's a cruel paradox that for students, teacher-generated material which potentially has a dynamic and maximal relevance to local needs often has less credibility than a published textbook, no matter how inadequate that may be. These frustrations can be assuaged or alleviated, at least potentially, when local textbooks are developed in order to accommodate the on-the-spot needs of learners and preferences of teachers. Despite all these facts, that to put a book on the open market implies a moral contract that the book has been cleared of basic faults. Brumfitt, 1980, page 30. That the same complaints come up repeatedly suggests a violation of this implicit agreement and a substantive mismatch between what is produced and what teachers would like to have. Publishers sometimes neglect matters of cultural appropriacy. They fail to recognize the likely restrictions operative in most teaching situations, and they are not always aware of the pedagogical implications of current theory and research in linguistics and language learning. Many textbooks, for example, use artificial whole sentence dialogues despite the descriptions available of the truncated or shortcut nature of authentic oral interaction. Cunningworth, 1987. Our readers' use of schemata, Carvel, 1984, and text sampling is often ignored in reading skills books, which encourage linear word-by-word bottom-up processing via visually instructive comprehension questioning, often in the margin, and arrow-drawing references exercises. So, for all this above, a successful evaluation is a must for both textbooks and other course materials. Lesson 6. Why do and why should we evaluate materials? Material evaluation aims at the following among many. Number 1. To identify the popular and successful features of existing materials, which will help us to produce better materials. Number 2. To choose suitable materials for language programs. Number 3. To adapt the materials to make them better suit the needs of the students and the needs of teaching. Number 4. To identify how successful the materials used in the classroom are. Number 5. To examine whether the materials fulfill the prescribed course. Number 6. To examine the extent to which materials permit students to achieve learning objectives and goals. Number 7. To identify whether the designs of the materials are suitable for a task-based syllabus. Number 8. To ensure whether the materials are current, updated, and relevant. Number 9. To identify the goals alignment with activities and teachers' instructions in language textbook. Number 10. To analyze the language skills presented in English language textbook. Number 11. To evaluate the sequence and formats of presenting language material in English language textbooks. Number 12. To suggest weaknesses and strengths of English language textbook. Lesson 7. Conclusive summary of material evaluation. Basically, material evaluation ascertains whether the materials are current, updated, and relevant, as well as maximally suitable for the target group of learners. To make learning more effective, teachers can take the assistance of teaching learning materials like an effective and feasible syllabus, reliable, authentic, genuine, logistic and exploitable materials are very crucial and pressing elements in the realm and arena of teaching learning language to implement and manipulate a project, training program or course successfully and lucratively. So, to be victorious, to do above all described in teaching learning a foreign language or a second language, a successful external and internal as well as a predictive and a retrospective evaluation before, during and after using language course materials demands greatly that must be operated skillfully and successfully. Thank you.